this is how I plan my campaigns, right? This is my campaign map. This little sub-region called the Eldorn Isle, right? And this is my campaign master doc notes. One of the examples from the map was the Old Keep. So I've got here outlined in the Old Keep. Now, some of you might remember, this is the flowchart that I made a while ago. This basically helps you to generate and flesh out the entirety of any settlement that you want to design, using a bunch of generators that you can find on Dungeon, the website for D&D stuff. It's pretty cool. And basically what you do is you just plug in all the things you want, and then out comes this stuff. And this is how I organize it, inspired by like the generators thing, right? So I always start off with, under the general region, I put a heading of the place that we're going to. So like this location. I include low map. So this here's the wall, and it's surrounded by a forest. And depending on the biome you select, it could be like farmland, it could be mountains, it could be oceans, it could be like a coastline somewhere. But in this case, it's just an old keep in the middle of a forest with one path that leads out of it. Pretty simple. Each of these buildings I kind of associate with generally with like a location. It doesn't really matter which one's which. It's just, I know in my mind, oh, there's like less than it's like a handful of locations here. So underneath the map, I put a summary of the most important basis of the location. So usually it's the population, right? The Old Keep covers an area of approximately 1 acre and a total population of 51 people. Pretty good. And then there's some population breakdowns. This stuff is all spat pretty much like right out of the generators that I've shared before. So I utilize bullet points and headings. This is how I do it, right? I put in under notable places and also NPCs, whatever. I put in the name of the bullet point, and then just a quick sentence that summarizes the most important things that will be relevant to me as I'm running the game. That's it, right? I'd say the most necessary details I usually outline in bold. So here, the Rampant Harlequin is a heroic commoner's inn. Kind of gives you the idea of the vibes already, and then it tells you exactly like the clientele, the people you're likely to find, and also the establishment it is. What's not bold is a flavor text that kind of just probably only need to reference once throughout the entire campaign, and then I can forget about it. So yeah, so I've got the Cursed Arrow, the Crackpot. Some of these I've kind of edited to make like more interesting. For example, the Crackpot is the workshop of a female elf potter named Wyla, known for her whimsical mimic-like tankard. So this is pretty cute. And then later on, I'll put Wyla back into the NPC box down here. So NPCs usually have a longer descriptive text. So the format I usually use for describing NPCs is underline name, and then their gender, their race, and then their role in the world, right? So either like this could be anything from a classic Dungeons and Dragons class to maybe just what their job is, and then at the end just their alignment very quickly, just to outline their priorities. Are they a nice person? Are they mean? Blah blah blah. Following that, it's just a general description. The bolded parts in this situation is like what's most immediately relevant. So here we have Charlene is lithe with frizzy gray hair. She's a female goblin captain that's lawful neutral. She is a survivor of a goblin village massacred by a blue dragon, and now serves as the haphazard authority figure of the Old Keep. So we have Garen, we have Wyla, blah blah blah. We also have, you see there's no formatting there, that's just literally what the generators spit out, right? So you can see already there's a big difference in readability between, having some formatting and just leaving it as plain text. When you are DMing, it makes a difference because you gotta just look at it and get back into the role playing of the game. And then following this, under the Old Keep, we have other stuff that I found useful from the generators. Things like, are there any magic shops? What's the labor like for this location? Is this a lumbering town? Is this a factory town? Is this like a port? Things like that. These are like details that won't really immediately come up, which is why I put them at the very end. But once again, I've bolded like the most relevant stuff, just so I can find it at a glance. All right. At the end here is a table that the generator spits out that tells you what kind of classes you can find in this location, right? So this is not actually a 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons thing. This is like a D20 system thing. So you might see things there that's like, oh, what's an adept? What's an aristocrat? Like as a class, like what's commoner, expert, warrior? You can mostly ignore that. If the players are looking for a service and they're saying, oh, is there like a cleric in town that could heal and like cure our curse, right? You just look at this and be like, yes or no, right? Here's another example. So we've got here the Quell. The Quell is a coastal lake that flows eastwards into the Ocean of Angels. Over here, so we've got the old keep up here, and the Quell down here. And then you see as the Master Dock details, it flows into the west. I hope I put west. I'm going to change this. Westwards into the Ocean of Angels. It is surrounded by mountains to its east and west, and forests to its north and south. Blah, blah, blah. Like so, right? So, you just do the same thing for all the locations again and again. But you don't have to like build the whole world out, like hundreds of locations outlined. Just next couple of locations that your players might visit, and they'll probably take a while to get there. Because D&D is a fun game where distractions are everywhere.